For more on the Central Economic Work Conference, we're joined by Zhiqin, a senior fellow at the Chongyang Institute for Financial Studies of Renmin University of China. Well, thank you so much for your time, Ms. Liu. So many media, including foreign ones, have noticed that stability has been repeated 25 times in a 4,700-word mission statement issued after the meeting. Why is stability being stressed on this year, and what's the impact on world economy?
We have to say the fact is that stability is the major target of the Chinese government to maintain the development in China, not only this year, but in the past 3 years, stability is always the focus of the central government to consider. Because as we know that we are facing challenges abroad and the domestic market, and within some contradictions between supply chain and the demand chain, how to stabilize the development is the major target for the government. For all these companies and entrepreneurs, they're also interested to know how stable that our situation is generally. So in this way, that the stabilizing is a very important factor, and is a very important role that in promoting and safeguarding the healthy development of our economy in the time to come. So stability will be always the top priority of our policy making.
Right, and Ms. Liu, the Central Economic Work Conference signaled a slight different tone this year of monetary policy stance. What does flexible and appropriate monetary policy entail?
As we know that before the years that the flexible and appropriate measures for monetary policy is seldom to be mentioned, but because we are always talking about the security and the healthy expansion in capital market. But the flexible is more or less that not so important for the policymakers. But this year that we have mentioned several times that the monetary policy should be flexible. That's why, because we should cope our monetary policy with the development, with the also situation in international market. As we know that the international market and monetary policy in other countries are still too flexible compared to China's policy. That's why our policy should be more flexible and appropriate to safeguard our basic interests and also to safeguard our major momentum for development. So this is quite important for our economic development, especially the monetary policy is a key role in our economic centered policy making.
Talking about the challenges, especially those coming from abroad, what are your thoughts about the threefold pressure? It's the first time that China is using such words to describe the economic situation. Will China be able to shore up the economy amid strong headwinds?
That's true. As we know, in the past years, when we are talking about the possible difficulties and the challenges ahead, we're still, in other words, to describe the situation. But nowadays, we have changed to a very detailed problem and difficulties we are facing, especially the uncertainties in the international market and the contradictions of supply chain and the demand chain, how to get a balance point. And another point is that the market itself that does not meet the standard of our expectation. All these pressures will play an important negative role and have a negative impact on our development. That's why the central government has clearly seen the problems that we are facing and work out the measures, appropriate measures to deal with these three pressures. As we know before, we are all talking about the possible and the potential risks, but nowadays we are more or less stressing the pressure for the economic development. This is a very important progress.
And Ms. Liu, I want to talk about one specific thing in the statement. The meeting also says China will implement an all-round registration-based IPO system. What changes will it bring to capital markets, and what is its role in supporting the real economy?
The full registration system has been discussed almost for 3 years in the capital market. For those companies who are going to IPO in China's market, should do the registration, because we have already 3 years as a test run that to probe to see what could happen by the full registration. Now the time is mature that to take full effectiveness, because this will bring two major changes in the capital market. First is in a healthy way that all the companies can retain and raise capital from the market by law. And secondly, all the capital expansion could be efficiently and in a high way that to be curbed and to be monitored and supervised. This is very important for the safety of the capital market. As we know, the capital market in the time before that we had met some headwinds and other difficulties, but nowadays by the full registration IPO could help to solve such problems.
China shows strong commitment to further deepen reforms, and Mr. Liu, excessive capital growth will be curbed with a type of traffic light mechanism, according to the statement, instead of last year's curbing disorderly expansion of capital. Help us understand this mechanism.
I think this mechanism is almost the same, no matter what words and describe it as a traffic light or other ways to describe such policy. But in principle, in its nature, that we have to monitor and supervise the capital expansion in a proper way. Especially all this capital expansion should be injected in the market in order by law. As we know, in the past 2 years, some companies, they inject money and inject the budget without law or support and based regulations. So in this way, they make the capital market in disorder, make some certainties and concerns among the market. So this is why that we say all these mechanisms should do as the traffic light. When the green or yellow or red line, all the companies should do according to this light instruction. That could make the market develop more smoothly, more healthily, and more stable. This is very essential to safeguard the security of our market.
Well, thank you very much for your insights. That was Liu Zhiqin, a senior fellow at the Chongyang Institute for Financial Studies of Renmin University of China for us. Well, supply chain security has become a major concern for companies around the world. Our reporter Chaobing has been finding out how one financial product is helping businesses in the southern Chinese city of Shenzhen.
Geshile Technologies, a company, makes components for signal transmission towers. Its biggest concern is reliable supplies.
Our supply chain is a big concern. If any single part isn't supplied in time, for example, due to financial problems, it will affect the delivery of our product.
Many of Geshile's suppliers are small and micro businesses, which are vulnerable to cash chain rupture. This is especially true in recent years, amid big hikes in commodity prices. So Geshile and its suppliers use a financial product called ICBC e-credit.
This small part is made of aluminum, and the price of aluminum was risen by more than 50% this year. Since our supplier for this part joined the ICBC e-credit with us, they can take part of our credit certificate to withstand the price rise and purchase raw materials as normal.
ICBC e-credit is a supply chain financing product launched by the Industrial and Commercial Bank of China. So how does it work? The bank's Shenzhen branch says it's a new way of using an existing product.
Supply chain financing is not new, but this e-credit launched by ICBC combines such products with blockchain technology, which enables the services reach out to multi-level suppliers in a timely and low-cost way. All a core enterprise needs to do is to log in the system and make payment to the supplier by issuing an online e-credit that is part of their credit at the bank, and the supplier can take this credit for financing.
So what is your comment on this financial product?
Facilitating the financing for thousands of small and medium-sized businesses will help them run their business more smoothly and efficiently.